Hi everybody. It's been, I'd say almost 3 months or about 3 months, maybe over 3 months since I've uploaded a video to this channel. Been doing some podcasts and videos for our other channel, for our home channel for my wife and I and our farm animals and dogs. So this has been kind of on the back burner, and add to that the weather hasn't been great for astrophotography, and I haven't been able to, well, as all of you know, really get out of the house to go do any traveling and videoing of that. So yeah, but anyway, here I am. Thought I'd do a quick, or hopefully quick, video on some of the photos that I was able to manage last week from my old house, which is up in a Bortle 2, Bortle 3 light pollution zone, so dark skies, really. And here at the house, where it's Bortle 8, full of light pollution. So I thought I'd just kind of go through these. The setups were different for each. When I was up north, I was using the ASI 533 MC on a RedCat 51 scope. And down here at the house, I was using my usual TAC TSA 102, but this time I threw the ASI 294 MC on it with a light pollution filter, just to kind of see how it would work. Normally I would just use my mono camera for that, but I felt like doing a little experiment. And I've never really been happy with my mono broadband imaging from down here, so I thought this see how it goes. Anyway, it's part of the fun. So yeah, let's just get right to it and start looking at these photos. So first off, let's start with some from down here. Open it up here. All right, so the first one, this is M13, the Great Globular in Hercules. So I'm actually really happy with how this one turned out. I only put like 2 hours into it. It's about 85 images stacked at 90 seconds an image. So yeah, classic dark flat frame calibration. So I'm pretty happy with it. For being in a light pollution, I think I was able to get rid of the gradients pretty well. I think the stars turned out pretty good. I don't know how it's going to translate on the video, but you can see some of the issues I have with it are the halos around the star. I was using an IDAS LPS D2 light pollution filter. I was reading about it, and some other people were having halo issues with that filter as well. I'd used it in the past with the RedCat, never had any halos. This was the first time I used it with the 102. So I don't know. I'm really not sure. I'm gonna have to experiment with it. Maybe try and get it closer to the camera. See if I can get it closer to the camera next time I try doing this. And see if that makes a difference. But other than the halos, which are there, but they're not terrible. I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out for a quick session. So anyway, have a look, comment below, tell me what you think. This one I'm not really too pleased with, and it's the one that I put the most integration into down here. Now I did lose about an hour and a half of integration time because for some reason the autofocusing must have been off, and I had a handful of, more than a handful, about an hour and a half worth of images that the stars were just really bloated, so I just tossed them there, but I did end up having 200 that were still good, again at 90 seconds. This is to repeat, this is with the ASI 294 MC. I had it cooled at -15. Again, the halos, but in this one you can also see the gradient. I tried, I am the first to admit that I am not the best post processor. I try to get most of my noise reduction and everything going, you know, as much as I can in camera, so I can just, you know, stack and reduce the noise that way and dither and try not to do a whole bunch of post-processing. But of course, with light pollution, there's no way around it. So again, it turned out okay, but you can see some of the gradient going in there, and that was the best I could do. And I finally was like, you know what, I'm not super happy with the halos anyway, so I wasn't going to put any more time into this image. The bonus is, as you can see, this is from a light polluted sky, and I mean, I'm still pulling out galactic details, faint galactic details, and you know, so that's pretty impressive considering that you have all this light pollution to deal with, and not nearly as noisy as I've dealt with in the past. So definitely trying to take look at the positives from it. I totally went to the last one. I think I forgot to tell you what it was. So it's NGC 5033, NGC 5014, NGC 5005, the whole neighborhood just around there. It was kind of a wide field because the 102 is my tightest scope. And I'm actually using this photo to try and talk my wife into letting me get a longer focal length scope before next galaxy season, as galaxies, or swirlies as she likes to call them, are her favorite. So going to use this to my benefit. Another bonus of that photo. Anyway, so back to the iris. I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. It always seems to be the wrong time of year, or the wrong place, or where I'm at to try and get it when I'm at a dark site. At my house up north, where it's dark, I don't really have a good view to the north, so most of my imaging is done straight overhead or to the south. So to be able, and I've tried this a few times here, and it just never came out decent. So actually, to be able to pull out some of the dust and some of the shadow, I mean, not nearly what you can get, or that I've seen people do when they're at a dark zone with this, because it's a beautiful reflection nebula. But I'm actually really happy with how this came out, just for being in such a light polluted area. So it just goes to show that you can still manage decent images from light pollution. Are they going to be, you know, magazine quality? No, likely not. But for me, you know, I just think it's really neat to be able to cut through the, you know, all of that to be able to see what's out there. So anyway, so I'm actually really pleased with that. So I'm going to go to the last two that I took when I was up north. And so this is with a different camera. This is with the ASI 533MC on the RedCat, so definitely a wider field. I did have the IDAS Nebula Booster filter on this, and it definitely helped with the contrastiness of it. But thinking back on it, I should have just left it off, because I was in such a dark zone. I definitely noticed that it messes with the star colors, and it gives me that sort of narrow band artificial star color feel. So yeah, definitely next time. I was experimenting with it, and I bought that filter to use down here with one shot color, down in my light polluted area. So yeah, next time that's just gonna stay off when I'm at the dark site, because I don't think there's a need for it. I do think that for the integration time and the area, I mean, I did no gradient removal, no light pollution removal, no post noise reduction. This is all just very minimal stretching, saturation, contrast, and that's it. So the processing on these two photos from my dark site, so much easier. So yeah, so this is 20 300-second exposures, and that's the difference in the dark side. I'm able to do 300 seconds of broadband exposure, but down here, I mean, I was washing out at 90 seconds. I was pushing with imaging in the light pollution. So yeah, this was kind of a quick one I did towards the end of the night. It's the Trifid Nebula. It's almost 2 hours of integration. Like I said, the star colors are a little funny, but I actually think it turned out pretty good. There's lots of hydrogen around that area. I mean, it's a very beautiful nebula. I've never imaged it before. I'm definitely coming back to this to try some different techniques and really focus some time on it. So that's definitely where I'm at with that one. North American Nebula. Again, this was, let's see, what did I do on this one? This was 90 300-second exposures, so 7.5 hours of exposure time on this. Again, with the nebula filter, really, I think, brought out some detail. You can see, like, especially around, like, the Cygnus wall, you've got, I mean, just, really contrasty, lots of dust. Again, star colors are a little tweaked because of the nebula filter, so it gives it that sort of artificial star color. So I did get a little bit of a halo on a couple of the brighter stars. And you can see a little bit of the starburst down on the lower left star there. That's from the filter, I'm fairly certain again. And on the RedCat, there is the area just past where you mount the camera where they make an area for you to thread in a filter. So that's where I had the filter threaded. I think next time, if I use a filter, twofold, I use an off-axis guider, even on the RedCat, and just as a nice tight little setup. So my guider is going through the filter as well. And with that nebula booster, it was making for really long guider exposures. And on the CEM 40 that I was using, that I would have liked them to be a little shorter. And also the filter's far away from the main camera sensor, where normally you like to have them really close. So while I think that's a great idea for, say, if I was using a DSLR on it, or a mirrorless, that's a great place, because then you have a place to put in a filter. But in the future, if I need to use a filter on the RedCat, I will put it right up just past the camera. But like I said, I'm regretting a bit using the filter for these images at my dark side anyway. So, but anyway, I'm really pleased with this. Was the first time I used this camera. Super low noise. Was a great field of view with the RedCat. I know definitely can go wider with a full frame and stuff like that, but it made for you fitting the whole North America in it made for a pretty good photo, a good framing. So I'm actually really pleased with it, and close enough to be able to get some of the detail in the wisps and the noise. Oh my God, so low, no amp glow. I mean, I did my calibration frames like I always do, and the noise at -15 at 1 second was the same as 300 seconds. No amp glow, which is very typical of the CMOS sensors. So, yeah, really pleased with that camera. I think I'm going to be using that a lot. Anyhow, so that's pretty much it. Those are my kind of go over, critiques, so to speak, on my photos. They're definitely not the best photos, in my opinion, that I've taken, and they definitely have a long way to go compared to some of the astrophotographers I follow. and watch their stuff. So, I mean, you know, always something to aspire to. But still, I think it was good to be able to show them off and show what I liked and what I didn't like and what the setup was that I used to capture them. So, yeah. If you want to see more of my photos, I put them all on a website called Astrobin. It's kind of like a Flickr for astrophotography. You can see them at my photos at Tom. There, you just type that in the search and my photos will come up. So you can see some of the other images that I've done in the past. I've also been using Instagram and Twitter to post my photos more often as well. So if you want to follow me, it's at Tom on both of those. Please give me a follow. Check them out. Yeah, so not only are my astro photos there, but some of my terrestrial photos and who knows what else. Well, so yeah, I guess that's it for now. It's good to be able to get a video out here and touch base. I'm going to try and be doing it a little more regularly now that things have settled down and kind of getting some time back to myself to be able to do some of these things. Side note, the TSA 102 has been taken down and is heading out to Takahashi, America to get sort of cleaned and collimated and just kind of gone through. I think it's an older scope and I bought it used, so it's definitely time to do that. So in the time being, I've thrown my Stellar View 70T up on there, my wide view scope, and gonna get ready to do some wide field narrowband imaging when we get back to clear weather again. Fog's back, typical San Francisco. Yay. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you next time. All right, have a great night. Bye.